Land of the Free, episode 9, and we have some new folks. So we'll do cats real quick. The concept is that this is Dungeons and Dragons, but cyberpunk, basically. Pretty much. um, there's cool, like, allegories from the D&D classes. JD, could you mute yourself? You got the siren going on.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
But yeah, basically cyberpunk, if you look deep enough, is basically just a D20 system that is very much inspired by D&D, and we're using Veil 2020 instead to play. So it's slightly modified, but what you can expect is mostly that everybody is in a dystopian setting. You guys are cyberpunks, so you're an ostracized subculture, basically. And you are kind of like, badass mercs that travel from place to place and resemble murder hobos, not at all. And the aim is that we're using this system that I designed for playing a module called Land of the Free, which is a cross-country mega adventure. And I think we'll probably be able to wrap it up in the 3 sessions that we have left. And then we'll probably go into a different module next month or something. But we'll see, I suppose. Tone is anime as fuck. A little bit gonzo. We've had our poignant moments and stuff, but it is definitely gonzo, and it is definitely anime, especially with Darren play. Darren brings the anime.
Don't call me out.
Yeah. And safety tools, we use the X card, so if anything's making you comfortable, just put up your hands like this, or type X in the chat, or even in the chat, just be like, no, that's not good. And that's perfectly acceptable. We've had the X card material in this before, slash Confederate flags and the South will rise again stuff. So if similar things are making you uncomfortable, let me know, especially because as a Canadian, I'm less plugged into things that would make Americans uncomfortable. So, I mean, I bring up 1812 all the time, right? So I'm just kidding. I don't do that. I know you guys don't like that. So, yeah, that's what we're doing. We're is everybody familiar with Veil 2020 as the system? Like, do you need a little bit of more information as to what the core die mechanic is and all that kind of stuff? Everyone's good? Yeah. Okay. We'll just take it in stride, I think. Okay, cool. So, Darren, do you want to introduce your character real quick then?
Yeah, sure. My character's name is Omen. Omen is not the brightest cookie in the cram box. He's a street fighter from New York who doesn't like the street fight in life. And then he thought this would be his big ticket out of here. And so far, we haven't gotten to Night City yet. He has... he's got like a little bit of a long hair that's like pulled back into a little baby ponytail with a rubber band because he doesn't know that that's bad for your hair. And he's usually wearing some like cut off shirt with baggy sweatpants. No, it's not big enough. He doesn't have enough hair to be a man bun. It's just like this little plop of hair. It's like he's trying to grow it out to be, but yeah. Oh yeah, he's got prosthetic elf ears, very important detail, and wide reflexes, so he's very fast, and a sword. He's in the sword club. Wait, I'm building up to the evil arm. Jeez. And then his cybernetic arm has an artificial intelligence in it that may or may not be evil. I'm not casting aspersions here. I think that's it.
Cool. So that's how we became anime. Laura, do you want to introduce your character?
yeah, I'm now like, oh my gosh, not much has happened to Bina compared to poor Owen. Owen's been through the friggin' war. But Bina is a pusher, DJ, hacker kind of person. She's always plugged into the veil, as evidenced by the veil goggles in her picture. They look real chunky and thick and stuff, but they can withstand a bullet after we found out when she got a shot in the face. And that was kind of cool. She was sort of born from a like corporate music body entity, and then sort of broke off from that. So that's like kind of her rough backstory, I guess. And now she's just kind of punking it up and trying to like stick it to the corpse and that kind of thing. And I think she feels somewhat kindred to Adriana, coming from like a similar-ish background. But I think her and Adriana had like didn't see eye to eye in the episode prior, where Adriana was like, I don't know about this life, man. Like like science is safer and labs are safe and stuff. And Bina was like, but then you're not living, man. And Adriana was like, no, but like murder and killing isn't cool. So I don't know where they stand anymore. And I think that's kind of it. Yeah, she just does say the DJ thing a lot. Super punk, repulsive, very interested in fucking up corporations, I think. Yeah.
Cool. And Alex, do you want to introduce your new character? Oh, you're muted.
Thank you. I'm playing March. He's traditionally been a information thief. He hacks things with his mind and his extensive cybernetics all in his head. And he's kind of an adrenaline junkie, I guess. He's very easily bored, so he spends his time. He makes money by breaking into corporate buildings and just doing the most dangerous shit, and trying not to die. A little morally bankrupt, like he'd probably steal stuff for other corporations if they paid well. But I think he's gotten bored with that as well. So I don't know exactly how he's joining up with this particular crew, but
yeah, we'll figure out
that.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But so are you the French guy in Ocean's 12?
I haven't seen that. My starting point was Alec Hardison and Leverage.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, they're basically the same. It's a different accent. Cool. JD, how about you?
Cool. So I'm gonna be playing Dusk. She oh no, I lost my character sheet. Oh no. So she's a short woman, dark complected, with a black mullet, leather reinforced jacket. She explicitly has no cyberware, no tattoos, no piercings, for quasi-religious reasons. She's an ace, and her jam is the fact that she has this remote controlled surveillance drone with imaging stuff, and basically she's like a I don't know how to describe it, like a tactician. So I have a sniper rifle and such. So I'd rather be like posted up, kind of take a lay of the land and understand like situational awareness is why she joins crews. If they want to do a job, but they're afraid of outside interference, they're afraid of things going on. That's pretty much Dusk's specialty.
Cool. Sounds good. And what about Joshua?
My guy's name is Z. His full name is Zephyr, but he goes by Z because his whole thing is he's pretty much just trying to be as cool as possible. He's like a 15-year-old orphan, grew up on the streets, and he just collects all of the coolest detritus from all the punks that he follows around, wanting to be like them. So he's got like a tattered bomber jacket and a giant like star-shaped sunglasses and all that kind of stuff. He kind of put together this arm. His left arm is a cybernetic arm, and he hides all of his thieves' tools in it, so he can kind of skip out from any kind of heat that he picks up when he's digging around or sneaking around. And he's not a big fan of the Veil, like any of the techno stuff. It freaks him out, so he just kind of stays away from that and goes for the more traditional physical theft.
Cool. Cool. That sounds good. So I'll ask you, it looks like JD and Alex, can you go to the top right corner of the Roll20 browser in My Settings and change your display name to your character name and pronouns, and then in brackets your player name as well. Helps people to be able to see your names and pronouns and stuff as we're playing. Cool. Also, I like all of the names. It's all very good. So, my idea for how y'all might be able to have hooked up with these people who are currently on like a raft, basically, with a motor on it, with a small sort of like Jaws style cabin for which to sleep in and stuff like that. They're on their way to the offshore colonies, which is definitely a play on Blade Runner when this came out. And essentially what that is a pile of like oil rigs, essentially, were deconstructed and put back together again in like strange ways out in the ocean in sort of like a free space where nomads roam and stuff like that. And so it's like the home of mostly nomads is what it's called. And you're going to this hub to, before you were going to go to Galveston, but now you've been informed that that is a bad idea because you have a Michael Hart is playing for the other corporation, basically. And Satchel Sabo, who works for the media, has sent you data and proof and all that kind of stuff to Bina's device that lets you know that Michael Hart is Bad News Bears and is on the boat with you all right now. But my idea is, since Satchel has been tracking you and trying to get a hold of you and stuff like that, maybe she was the one that hired you three, the new crew, to come aboard at night and sort of like help them out with this situation, because she wasn't sure if she'd be able to get a hold of you or not, especially since she called Omen and Omen hung up on her multiple times.
It was very suspicious.
Yeah, it's true. They keep getting betrayed in true cyberpunk fashion. So, does anybody need a little bit of a crash course on cyberpunk, by the way? That would be... Does everyone kind of understand what's happening in the setting? Yeah? Okay, cool. It's just 10 years from now. I'm just kidding. Cool. Okay, so the last thing that we had seen is Bina and Omen. You were in like the cabin area discussing this stuff with Satchel Sabo through your net running link stuff with your DJ hookup apparatus thing. And she had given you all that information, said, don't go to Galveston, go to Corpus Christi. And that's when Michael Hart had come in and said, like, what you doing, basically, right? And that's where we cut. So what's the plan? What is everybody thinking at a player level? Darren, what do you think?
I think that Omen is preoccupied with his own bullshit, which is the AI in his arm. So I guess like doesn't want to go to Texas because that's extra dangerous. And I don't know. know. He's conflicted because he wants to finish the job. He talked a lot about that. He wants to get his money and get to Night City.
Yeah, finishing the job is an extra 3,800.
Oh,
That's swimmer money.
For some reason, I was thinking, like, why would it cost that much?
No, that's how much you'll get. And ostensibly, you might be able to get some more money out of it since it's turned into a little bit of a mission.
Oh, yeah. I also forgot that I am spiked out on scared right now. So.
Okay, cool. That's good.
So Omen's just scared, and he wants to get probably out of the water and not in Texas. Did I answer your question?
Sure.
Okay.
Do you have a specific thing that you want to do with Michael Hart, having learned his
with Michael
betrayal and stuff?
No, I think I just want to get away from him. I mean, I think that if we could ditch him, I think that that's where Omen's headspace is right now. He wants to like just get away from him.
Okay, Bina?
Yeah, I think like Bina's probably keen to learn a bit more about Michael Hart's jam, or who he's working with, or dig a bit deeper into what's like going on there. Since if we ditch him, like he's probably not the bad guy Omelette. It's probably another bigger bad guy behind him. So they'll just send more other bad guys after us if we don't figure it out.
Well, you did find out that he was basically like a planted spy in the cyberpunk world by the Arasaka Corporation, right? That's part of the information that was sent to you by Satchel Saba.
Oh, I recall that.
So as a cyberpunk, it might be particularly offensive, right? He's like a rat, a planet rat.
Yeah, totally. So I feel like, I don't know, it's probably some stuff we can get out of him.
Okay.
I think. But also ditching him is also an option.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. What would be fun for the new folks? Like, do you think it would be the most fun for you to be sent here in the night to kill him, to like remove him as a threat from them and interrogate him, or option C that I haven't thought of? What do people think?
I think I'm more of a fan of the interrogating him. Kind of goes with what Bina was talking about.
Same, just because usually assassinations aren't like March's jam.
Too much blood.
Yeah, that's not what he's good at.
Yeah. Plus exposition, yeah. What about JD? What do you think?
I'm cool with that. I'm fine with I mean, information is money. Let's get information.
Right. Okay. So what would be a cool way of you guys, like, let's say that this conversation is happening in tandem. Like, if this was an episode of a TV show, the last thing that we ended on was these people finding out this information about Michael Hart. But then at the beginning of this TV show, we cut back to like y'all having hatched this plan and coming aboard this raft, essentially. And it's like interspersing the what happened previously with what's going to happen, right? As more information is revealed. And we didn't know that new people were coming, but they did. What do you think is a cool way of trying to like take Michael Hart unawares or something like that? Like, let's say that you have hatched this plan together and you're now just like executing it. Think of it as like Blades in the Dark type thing, right? Where you're doing a specific score.
So they're currently on a raft trying to head out to sea, right?
Yeah, like they're in a channel headed to the offshore channels or offshore colony already.
So we have to have a way to like intercept that and isolate the. You said Michael Hart was his name, right?
Yeah, Michael Hart. And it's the picture in the top left corner, the guy with like the huge cell phone. Because it's the 90s. So what way would you guys think of doing that? Are you like approaching with a whatchamacallit, one of those inflatable special seal things, or
Yeah, like a just a powerboat that can move really quickly and is really maneuverable, so we can like get in, grab him, and isolate him. Is my thought.
Cool. I like that. So
wondering-
and what?
I was just saying, I was wondering if maybe we could have JD's drone kind of fly up, like a little bit. I imagine in kind of a movie sense, like they're talking with Michael and the drone flies up behind Michael and like starts doing a little blinking Morse code or something that only the two PCs can see. Like, oh, bring him to the balcony or the edge of the boat, and we can just kind of like pull him over the edge or something like that.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds cool. We can also retcon it a bit too if you guys have a different idea. Like he could still be the last thing he was doing was supposedly out on the raft and smoking, and then just to make it a good cliffhanger, I was like, he comes around the corner and asks what's up or whatever. But this could be like before that moment too. Because so JD's character Dusk is more of a tactician, right? And like taking people from afar and stuff like that. And so I imagine that maybe March, maybe you're there to cut off his connection to the net, right? With Arasaka and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Can do that with my ears.
Oh, fancy. You just like tune them? Just like click, 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 click.
Yeah, basically. I
Cool.
just press a button and then this little flash.
Oh shit! It's like a MIB thing. Cool. Okay, so Z, what do you think your purpose in this strike is?
I'm thinking maybe he has some kind of like briefcase or other kind of physical collection of papers, or maybe like some data disks that Satchel knew about that I was specifically asked to break into or snatch.
Okay.
Locked up or something like that.
Cool. I like that. Okay, well, let's start out with Dusk doing the things from afar then. So what do you think you're gonna do here?
So we need to know how best to like approach this raft, I think. So I would definitely just send my drone up. This is exactly what I do. Try to figure out how quickly they're moving, and I think try to time it right so that we can like grab him and pull away like up a tributary or something that will hopefully separate us from the raft.
Oh, so you're like you're gonna so you're not gonna join the party, you're gonna remove him from the party.
Yeah, I think that's what we were talking about, right?
Okay. That could be a thing, or you could infiltrate the raft so that then you're with the PCs too.
Okay, I mean, yeah, let's do that just for party cohesion, probably. I think that I would think about trying to time things so that if we needed to make a quick escape, we could do so. But ideally, we can stay in control of the situation. So
Yeah. Well, and yeah, either I think whatever is interesting to you, because it's also interesting if like they learn all this stuff about Michael Hart and then suddenly Michael Hart is dealt with, he's gone, right? Like somewhere or whatever. And you're just like, we dealt with it. And we're here at like Satchel Sabo's behest and what up, look, fellow cyberpunks, right? Either one is interesting to me. But yeah, we'll just assume that your mission in particular is from Satchel Sabo to facilitate the original mission of these two cyberpunks to get Adriana to Night City in the most roundabout way of America to showcase its environment. Cool. So you basically want to know how best he's vulnerable to you, right? Oh, you're muted. Yeah.
yes, I think so. Yeah.
Cool. So how do you feel about this? Let's get a roll on the table then. And the stakes, I think, So you're sending up the drone to specifically do recon and stuff like that?
Yep, exactly.
Cool. So I think the stakes is perhaps he notices the drone in some way. Like maybe he's been cyberized. We don't know because apparently he always has mirror shades on, but you know, he's got some stuff under the hood.
Cool.
All right. So you would just roll the applicable stat for how you're feeling in the game.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about that.
Is this what gets you excited? Z.
Is a job, I guess. Yeah, that's actually good. I'll just start that way. Like I like having jobs. I like knowing that I'm gonna get paid. So
Yeah.
joyful is what you're thinking?
Yeah, if you think it applies, yeah.
I'm cool with that. It is my worst stat. Let's do it.
Yeah, well, you know, it's PBTA. It'll be fine.
Right. How do I roll things?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. So your desk here. So see the little button that looks like a die beside your.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Stat?
I just click that.
Yeah, it might ask you some stuff. But...
Wow, that's very convenient.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. So you got an 8, and yeah, it looks like it added things correctly. 9 makes it an 8. Cool. So at a mid result, I think both happens. So you learn how he's vulnerable to you. I think. Oh, and yeah. So I think what you see is like this drone has infrared and all that kind of stuff, right? It's like a spy drone type thing. So I think we get a shot of the iris of your drone zooming in. Actually, what does it look like, this drone?
It looks like kind of like a UFO, like the traditional like lamp, like the fake lamp UFO. I think that's what it looks like, with like a couple of different like little half balls on the bottom of it, which is where the instruments are, like the viewing instruments.
Cool.
And like a little blinky antenna on the top.
Cool. I like that a lot. So I think what happens is you kind of like zoom in, you've got your feed, however you've got it. Is it like in your cyber eye or?
No, I don't have cyber mod, so I have like a little deck with like a view screen, and like my controls are on that too.
Okay, cool. So in your view screen for like basically a literal drone, I guess. You zoom in, and what you see, I think, is Michael Hart is like whatchamacallit. He has situated himself in such a way that he's like beside the wall where the noise is coming from inside, where they're talking to Satchel Sabo, and he's kind of like immobilized himself, and maybe you get like the same sort of like radio waves coming off him that cell phones get when you have that technology that I forget what it's called. And so you know that he's sort of like using his own enhanced senses to listen in on what they're saying. And then his head like snaps up into the left, and as he looks up, there's like a whole bunch of stars, and I think there's just like that the typical sort of lens catch from like an eye as he spots like a drone, but it's gone for a second, and then he like his eyes switch to sort of like replicant view, right, where it's like got the red tinge to it, and he starts like scanning the sky and stuff like that. And both of you guys see that though. So what do you do? Z or March?
I have absolutely no long range weapons whatsoever, or anything like that. So if we're too far out to really do much, I don't even know, other than start swimming for the boat or something like that. But I guess he doesn't know where we are. He just knows where the drone is.
Yeah, he's scanning the sky, right? And the drone, I'm sure, like, you know, this is not her first rodeo. She's like moving it around and being surreptitious, and maybe even being intentionally a diversion for you to get off this stuff, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It's like, yeah, lead him that way. Make him think we're coming from the other side or something.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So now he begins to like start prowling instead of listening in and stuff, right?
And we'll just keep motoring our raft up to their raft.
Yeah, the veil is like a 3D space in this game as well. It's the only, I guess, diversion from Cyberpunk 2020. And what that means is it's a hybrid reality. So digital space is in your physical space as well. So think of cyberspace and now intertwined so that hackers don't have to just be like sitting beside the computer jacked in and not doing anything. Solves that old problem basically. But where I'm going with that is to tie that together into something cogent. March, maybe it is that you see this information and like what he's doing with his cybernetics, and maybe as a pusher you can do something with that.
Yeah, I was gonna see if I could fool his cyber eyes basically into not seeing anything anything unusual.
Yeah. So you're gonna break into his eyeballs. Sounds good. I think the typical stakes that we have here is probably like 1d4 damage online for like feedback, right? Like maybe he has ice countermeasures type stuff in his bio eyeball action from Arasaka core, I'm sure.
And I think he's probably feeling powerful at this moment.
And what does it look like visually? Like if in the TV show / movie of this, what does what do we see on
so
screen?
I guess if you're not looking in the veil, it doesn't look like much, but if you can see the veil, basically imagine well, what does the veil space like look like? Is it sort of like typical Tron like cyberspace, or is it something different?
I think we established that it was different for everybody, actually. Like it was a subjective space interpreted by the specific hacker. Like Bina's one is all about like music. Basically, it's like an Audacity thing. Yeah. Whereas other hackers, it was like a lot more traditional and more like jacking in and like running programs and stuff like that. So yeah, I think you've got space to make it as cool as you would like, since it's a subjective thing.
Okay, I'll have to think about what exactly his version of the veil looks like, but to anybody else, it's basically band comes off of his eyes and zooms towards Hart's eyes and slaps on.
Sweet. Okay, so roll it up. Let's see what happens. You might get some feedback though. Da-na-na-na. Oh, that's pretty good. No feedback for you. So with 11, you get essentially narrative authority to tell me exactly what happens with that. What you set out to do happens.
Yeah. He doesn't notice anything is wrong with his cyber eyes. He doesn't notice anything is awry at all. So yeah, it's just made to look like they're working fine, but nothing is going on.
Cool.
No drones or anything. It's fine.
Yeah. So and it's probably like one of those tense moments where it's like he's just about to like see the drone or whatever, right? And then like the red eyes go off or something like that, and he's just like, "This is pretty cool," but nothing's there, right?
A little square pops up between him and the drone, and a square just shows like what the space behind the drone looks like.
You Mission Impossible him. Sounds good. Cool. And so now I think it's just a matter of actually getting him, right? So what is the plan for that, do we think, Z?
I think as he's kind of distracted, I'd like to imagine that we can like get up close enough, and then Z would use his mechanical arm his cyber arm to grab onto the edge and kind of like pull himself and flip over and just tase him right in the chest as he's looking up.
Snap. Okay. And so I want to ask too, is the plan to get him off the boat and the two cyberpunks none the wiser, and then you like do your thing, whatever Satchel Sabo sent you to do, and then you just show up on the boat later, or is the action going to be taking place on the raft, or what do people think?
That's a great question.
Either is fine with me.
I think it's more interesting if it's taking place on the raft and we're meeting with the OG crew.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that we knew they were there and were sent to help them out and stuff. So
yeah, I want to meet the people I'm being sent to assist.
Sure. And then JD, on a player level, if you want to do something else with that, like if your secondary mission is to get rid of like the body of Michael Hart or something, then we can do that later too. That would be fun.
Cool, sounds good.
Yeah. Cool. All right, so how are you feeling as you use your cyber arm to jump onto a raft and tase a person?
I think at this point, since I don't feel like I have any chance of failure, I'm super excited and joyful.
Cool. But you were wrong.
I was so wrong.
No, 7 is good still, though. But let's see, a complication. Oh, yeah, I know. So I think the complication is that you do this thing, you tase the Michael Hart as he's looking up at the sky, about to see the drone. But at the same time, when he's tased, his like cybernetic systems have like a default that if his like nervous system is shocked or whatever, then like an SOS sort of like goes out, right? So I think the people that know this is probably March, who can probably see this thing as like the physical manifestation of this thing going out, and probably also Dusk's drone, right, is equipped to see stuff like that. So do you want to, you can still do your thing, you can describe how exactly you do it if you want, and then I'll switch to JD to see if the drone can do something about this.
Okay. Yeah, I think I want to just kind of use the arm and do kind of a tuck dive sweet roll and come up right into his chest with the taser. And he's, just sitting there like, I probably hold it in a little too long because I don't know exactly what I'm doing.
So he pees himself? Great.
Something like that. Yeah, and he just kind of slumps down. I don't know when to like really pull it back out or anything. And eventually he just falls over and I'm kind of start like piecing through his jacket and stuff, looking for goodies.
Sounds good. Okay, sweet. So Dusk, you see this like signal coming out. What does it look like in the drone's camera?
It's probably like a shimmer of like a heat coming off of a blacktop or something. Like it's not something that if you're looking on the screen, like most people would really necessarily notice, but I've been working with this technology for a long time. So it's a subtle change in like the way that the image is displayed. Cool.
So what do you do about that?
Well, it means that we're gonna have company at some point, probably.
Or is your drone equipped to mess with the signal or kill it or anything?
I don't think so.
No. What about March? Are you?
Yeah, I was under the impression that with my cyber ear, which has the scrambling tag, I was blocking all incoming and outgoing communications.
Oh, okay. Fine. Then I guess what you see is that, but then it fizzles out or something, right? Like how does the scrambling work? Does it like emit like a counter signal or something that just like screws it up or something?
Yeah, I think from March's view, it looks like basically a flock of crows comes in and tears the signal apart.
Oh, snap. Okay, that's cool. It's a murder.
Yeah.
Different kind of murder than what JD thought, but a murder nonetheless.
And then they just sort of disperse and
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
circle above, waiting for something else to tear apart, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet. So I think we'll take a 5-minute break quick, but right before that, I think the thing that happens then is we'll retcon. Satchel Sabo was talking to the people just before, but I think just then, as the murder of crows comes in and tears out the signal and stuff, that's when Satchel Sabo's screen kind of like goes out too, right? Because nothing can come in and out with your ear action. So the signal is killed with Bina and Omen discussing what is happening with Satchel Sabo, and at a player level you're scared, but at a character level you're scared. At a player level, everything's fine. And we'll go to break on that. So let's come back at 20 after. Is that good with everybody? Yeah, cool. I'll see you in a bit then. Alex, at first I thought that picture was what you were doing, like eating the burrito or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. It's like just try to sneak one in, huh? Cool. Yes. Yeah, feisty crows. Exactly, yeah. Or you're muted if you're trying to talk.
I just said, God damn it. Yeah, I didn't exactly eat dinner, so
You need a burrito.
it would not have been unreasonable to,
Yeah.
to have been eating a burrito.
Yeah. Cool.
And so it was just sort of like 5 minutes. How much can I eat in 5 minutes?
Oh, yeah. And Joshua's a storm going. I know how that is. I think I've had like at least 2 of these sessions have been canceled because I've had a storm. So, although I guess the one last week is mysterious consequences and probably not from the hail, but you never know, right? You never know. So, cool. That all happens inside Bina and Omen. The connection goes dead. What do y'all do? Also, is there like a thing that people want to do with Michael Hart tased up there? Like, is this part of the plan? And like, I'm assuming that you having infiltrated this space, you'll have some sort of plan with interacting with the people on here without it coming to like maybe these people thinking you're intruders and stuff. What does the tactician think? What does Dusk? Does Dusk have a plan for this?
Yeah, we all are planning to get into the boat, and I think we're gonna try to keep it quiet until whatever. Maybe we have forged documents of some kind, like a forged ticket, forged pass, however people got on here.
Okay. Cool. Nice.
Did
Okay.
Flirt our way on board? I don't remember. Yeah, okay.
How did you actually? I think you just hired, right? Like I think you just, or I think Michael Hart arranged this actually, something like that.
That sounds right.
Yeah, that sounds right. Cool. Okay, so yeah, Bina Omen, you hear like, well, maybe you don't hear anything, but your signal goes dead. What do you guys do? Satchel Saba was just like, remember the last thing she yelled? It was like, "Get to Corpus Christi," and then it was like, "Bleh."
I remember. It was great.
Corpus Christi?
Have you ever been
like
over?
that place?
No, I don't want to go there. I just want to go to Night City.
Owen, I know it's really hard, but we're gonna get to Night City, okay? And then you'll get your motorbike, and you'll come to my gig, and it'll be awesome. But
Galveston. How can we trust these people, Bina?
oh, we can't. I mean, like we've lost. Like I don't know. Iota keeps coming in and out, and like she's the only one who knows what's going on. But and so until then, we're gonna have to try and keep our wits about us. And I mean, we can't trust everyone, but I trust these people.
I think Omen just like shakes his arm a little bit. Like, okay, I'll follow your lead. I can trust you at least.
Yeah, we've got each other's backs, Owen. Don't worry. Okay, let's do this. High five. But I mean, like, what do we do with Hart? Like, do we just take him out? Do we?
Well, are you guys worried about the signal suddenly going dead?
It wasn't me this time, I swear, Owen.
Well, yeah, I guess let's deal with Michael before we get stopped anywhere, because if he cut the signal, then it's already started. It's already started.
Already started.
Sorry. Yeah, suddenly Michael is the predator.
Would not be surprised.
Yeah, apparently. Cool.
He was just outside smoking, right?
Yeah.
And then which I guess we'll find out he's already taken care of.
Yeah. So do you guys arrange this in any kind of performative manner for the cyberpunks? Like, or did they just come out and you guys are like looming over the body of Michael Hart and he's like knocked out, or is there?
They're like, hey, somebody prepared earlier.
Have him sat in a chair, positioned like he's still conscious, sort of acting unnatural, hand on his shoulder. What's up?
He's like sitting in a lawn chair, yeah, for sure.
Interesting. So, what do you actually do? Or do you have him arranged in a chair?
I mean, depending on how quickly they come out, it could just be they're still in the boat and I'm like rifling through his pockets kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. So
I like it as like us just coming over the side of the boat, maybe right as they're emerging from the door.
sure. Cool. So yeah, you see all that. You see a sort of, I never remember the name of those stealth crafts. That thing like coming on board the raft, and you see another cyberpunk looking person over the body of Michael Hart rifling through their stuff.
Bina, go back inside. Go back inside. let's just stay inside until we get there.
Yeah. Omen takes out his sword.
I'm too scared. They've already got it taken care of.
So who initiates contact? Who's the first to say a thing?
I don't know. He doesn't. I think March breaks the silence in that he's the last one to get onto the boat, and he sort of falls in doing so. So he breaks the silence in that way.
Woohoo!
It's not this. The sea is not his element.
Right. Well, the easy thing here would just be that you guys recognize each other from the scene, right? Like in this subculture, your reputation kind of precedes you, and so maybe a few of you at least recognize the other of you as other cyberpunks, like on a job and stuff like that, and so that's why there's the natural sense of going along with one another and not just being like busting out your guns and having a weird standoff moment here.
Well, we knew that there were going to be other punks here, right, running a job.
Yeah, but they didn't know that. Like, it's an odd situation for them. But maybe they just recognize one of you as other runners or something like that. Maybe even it might even be interesting if one of you have run a job with either Omen or Bina before, and maybe that's why you were selected as something like this.
I like the idea of my character being like super into Omen as almost like a celebrity, because we both have arms, like cybernetic arms, and like I've totally heard of all of his exploits, and he's like my role model essentially.
Omen's been Instagramming his exploits across America.
It's just a bunch of hot dogs. Just pictures of hot dogs.
Oh god, the hot dogs. Yes.
I like the idea of March and Bina having done some job together, or been students at the same hacking school.
Hacking school, that's pretty cyberpunk.
The Hackademy.
Yeah, I'm down for that. I feel like we run in like we probably have a bit of a friendly rivalry thing going on.
Yeah.
Like you're like pretty legit with your cyber ears and everything, and like your infiltration and stuff. Whereas I'm like a B+ student, like getting like a B student who gets by with like their massive cyber dick.
Yeah, but I've heard of you.
Yeah. Like there's respect there, but also like you're my spaceman.
I mean, if you say so.
If you say so. Cool. So you two know each other, and then maybe that'll break it down. So
I'll have you a hand up when you fall over.
nice.
Bina, is that the one with the brain?
Hi.
Yeah, he's
Okay,
got a
okay, Bina, don't
brain,
read my
it's
brain.
confused.
Don't read my head, all right? Leave my mind
I
alone.
can't do that.
Oh, well, Bina said you can.
It's okay, this guy's legit.
Yeah. Yeah,
Omen's holding
me,
his
I'm super
head.
legit. So,
Okay.
and I'm with these guys, so they're fine too.
What's the deal, March? What's up with Hart? We were having issues with him. Now you're taking care of him.
Yeah, kind of wanted to get some information out of him, and figured the best way to do that would first be to make him not conscious. Then we could set something up.
Yeah, well, this guy, he's bad news, man. Like he's pulled the wool over our eyes for long enough. We only just found out that he killed our fixer. Now he's posing as our actual fixer, and it's not cool.
Yeah, it's nasty, but it's not so bad news right now.
So, what's the rest of the job you got to do? Like, are you gonna kill him or get rid of him, or?
Out of character, I'm still not super clear on that.
Yeah, it's pretty much up to you. Like, I think you have the same information that Satchel sent to the players, which is he works for Arasaka. He's like a plant in the cyberpunk community. Essentially, in the past, he ran a job against Arasaka, and in exchange for not killing him, they planted him in the cyberpunk community as like their mole, basically. And Arasaka has their own aims, right? Like they're trying to get Adriana for herself or for themselves, but other than that, there's like little information known, I guess. So you could try to get more information on that, or you could just do whatever you want with them.
So how about
I'd love to do that.
Yeah, can we get information from him about what he's been involved in, like what his contacts are in Arasaka, and then get rid of him? Sure.
So what is the next scene in the TV show? Like, does he wake up in a chair, like half naked, tied with some metallic weird cyberpunk ropes?
Cyber zip tied.
Yeah, cyber tied.
Why's he got to be half naked?
Because you got to torture him, right?
Are we doing that? I don't know.
I think you've got the wrong group here for you.
We can start with just talking.
Okay.
I love doing torture on people.
Okay, so that's fine. Yeah, we can put a line behind torture if you like.
Oh no, that's just a character thing. As a player, I'm okay with doing torture. March would rather not.
Can we set it up in a scene so that we have him zip tied up? We've got the whole crew kind of sitting outside of that door, talking about what to do with him, and he can overhear us talking about our plans.
Sure. Yeah, you're gonna be suggestive about it. Be all tactician-y.
Maybe not tactical, but I have ulterior plans with him later. So.
Oh, okay, sure. So what does he overhear?
I think at this point it'll be all of us outside. It'll just be listen, you guys get the information from him, but when you're done, hand him over to me. I've got a parting gift for him.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I hate that guy, so
it's all yours. Can you be a little more specific?
Nope.
Cool.
I like that. Cool. Okay, so do you want this conversation to be a role that affects Michael Hart, or do you want that to be a more forward conversation with him? Because this could totally be a thing that you're manipulating and trying to get him to tell you more stuff just by, ostensibly him overhearing your plans for what you're going to do to him, yada, yada, yada.
I'm into it affecting him even if it's not intentional, so I'm cool with rolling.
Cool, okay.
Either way, I'd like to, whatever we're doing to him, I'd like to be in there recording it with my magic eyes.
Okay, sounds good. Is that, Why are you recording it?
Might be useful.
Okay, so is it like something that you'll sell later, or just for like
Yeah,
posterity?
I have no specific plans.
Okay,
I
so
don't record everything. That
this isn't the Truman.
I only do massive breaches of privacy for bad people.
Right, that's good.
Uh,
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
yeah,
So-
and also being able to like have it recorded, it means he could use Michael's voice later.
Cool.
And it's just he does record a lot of things because it's always useful to have recordings and information.
Okay. Sounds good. So my question is, anybody helping Dusk in this sort of inadvertent manipulation of trying to get Michael Hart softened up for the interrogation later? Because that would help Dusk's role. Essentially, she would get advantage, right? Mechanically out of it. No one's in on the plan? Dusk is the only smart one.
I'll stand there and look cool.
Yeah, I don't know if that's helping.
I don't know if it's helping.
Yeah.
It's a sort of morale thing.
Who's doing the actual information extraction?
So this is why they needed Dusk, apparently. Dusk is on point, I guess.
Well, Omen is pacing like a few steps away from the door and having a cigarette. So
okay, cool. So Omen not giving a fuck. Check.
I'm stressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is totally outside of Z's realm as well. He's probably just like doing the exact same thing Omen is doing, but he can't smoke at all very well, so he just is coughing the whole time.
Cool. Okay, and then there's the two hackers. So it sounds like maybe Dusk. Cool. Or Abina.
Right, so am I setting this up, and then also I guess I'm the one torturing him for information? Is that what's going on?
So yeah, why don't we just roll it?
Great.
Move it all into one roll, maybe.
Okay, what I'm gonna do is actually I'm gonna grab Omen's cigarette out of his mouth. Thanks, and I'm gonna walk into the room with it.
Ooh. Okay, sounds
I'm gonna
good.
grab Z's cigarette out of his mouth.
Yeah, I totally let that happen.
You can borrow my taser. Nice. Yeah. Okay, cool. So he has overheard that stuff, and I will just say that you get advantage on this roll. So we're not doing double roll for the same.
I mean, I don't need one necessarily, but it's fine.
Well, so what do you want to get out of this guy?
So I want to know his handler in Arasaka.
Cool. That is definitely going to be a roll.
Yeah.
And so, how do you go about doing it other than making him scared?
I mean, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna like put the cigarette out on his face.
Okay, sounds good. And is this like the primer scene where like you don't even ask the questions yet? This is just the beginning.
Yeah, I haven't even started. He has no idea what I want from him.
Okay, so is that how you wake him up then too? Like,
oh, that's actually great. Yeah, I love it.
Cool. Okay, so he's like all slumped in the chair with the cyber ties, whatever that looks like. It's probably like zip ties.
They're just metallic.
Yeah. And like maybe you can only unlock it with like a thumbprint or something. Ooh, cyber. Yeah, and then so I think we get the scene of you taking the cigarette. The door just sort of like swings into the cabin, which I have described previously as the one from Jaws, which is tight spaces and
Perfect.
such. Yeah. And then you hear a scream from Michael Hart as he, I think, was faking being awake, and you knew that. And then you made him really awake with the burning of the cigarette and some sort of fleshy part that doesn't have cybernetics, probably, right? Cool. He like looks up at you and starts like doing the typical prisoner stuff, like shaking the chair around and making sure that it's like tied well and all that kind of stuff. And he looks up at you with like malice and hatred in his eyes, right? And when he finds out he can't do anything, he probably does he like spits in your face. Tara's like, that's not sanitary. Cool. And he says, why he doesn't know that other people know yet. So I think he just says like, I have my crew on this ship. You'll be sorry. And he's just sort of like, maybe even yells out for like Owen or something, right? He's like, Owen, because he's the fighter. What do you say? What do you do?
That's strange. I don't see anybody in this room. Anybody else? Let's see. Omen. Omen? Is that? Does he? Oh no, it's you're just on your own, I guess.
He like grinds his teeth a little, right? And he's like, "Oh, what do you want with me? We're both part of the same scene. We're both punks."
Yeah, some of us are punker than others, though, huh? That's
I don't
some
subscribe
pretty
to that notion within the scene.
That's some pretty nice tech you've got there. How are you paying for that?
He's like, like some people had to take out a loan, but it was that or lose my life. I was in the corporal like wars before. That's the story that he went with the other people, where he was in the corp wars with Elliot Weir, who was the one that he killed, their previous fixer.
Oh yeah, and you just got it pro bono. No big deal. You don't owe anybody anything.
I think he just like grinds his teeth some more and looks up like defiantly as he's like figuring out where this is going. And then maybe this will be a good time to roll then. So how do you feel kind of manipulating this fella?
I'm definitely feeling in the confident category, so I'm gonna roll with powerful, I think.
Sounds good. And you can roll with advantage, which I'm not sure if this sheet
Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, so just click the emotion that you're going with, but then also type /roll 1d6, and then we'll take the highest out of all that. So you got a 4 and a 2, and then roll an extra d6. It will take the highest numbers to get your result.
Is this how I do this? Nope.
Oh, it's
do a slash roll.
Yes. Yeah, like that. Oh, that's so it was your highest roll anyway. So you failed. Oh yeah, I know what happens. So I think what happens is like as this line of questioning is going up, surreptitiously in the corner of it, like we switch to his perspective, and out of the corner of his eye, we see like the rebooting of his systems after getting tased and shit. And as soon as it boots up, though, his eyes go like wide with fear, and there's like basically like a 2-minute timer that is counting down in there, and it says like Arasaka self-destruct armed going. So there's some more signals coming out of that room. Beta, March. See, we haven't seen you do too much. Well, I guess you tased the guy. That was pretty cool. But anyone want to do anything?
Z, why do you keep following me around?
I just kind of like look totally ashamed. Maybe I'll kind of awkwardly turn back around and hold up my hand for a high five, like it's definitely the cybernetic hand. Like, you're cool. I heard about your stuff. I really like it.
Am I street fighting? I took a drag from the cigarette.
Yeah, and all your exploits. You know, I watched all your kicks and your punches, and the cool stuff you wear. Man, that's really my jam.
It's always the right hook, right? Everyone's like, you gotta kill a right hook. I think everybody has a killer right hook, according to the movies.
Yeah, if you want to go on with the scene. Sorry, I just wanted to
Yeah.
a little call out.
I think like
I
when
don't
we
want to delay it too much.
just before we cut, I think we saw Dusk like look at Michael's eyes and see the refracted image there, right? Like the countdown timer in his eyes go wide and stuff, and then that's when we switched. And I liked the little comedy cut, right, where people are just like outside, nobody is aware that this guy is about to blow up. They're just like, yeah, right hooks and punches and stuff. Those are good. And I think what it sounds like in there is like Iron Man's repulsors when they're charging, right before they fire, like they're like that. Except it's his head. So March, Bina, maybe you catch some signals going out there.
Yeah,
Flash an incoming signal from Arasaka, maybe.
don't love that particular signal.
So how would cyberpunk hackers deal with that?
I'm still partial to the suggestion I made in the chat, which is that Bina seduce the bomb into not going off.
Oh, that's cool. Sure. You're gonna flirt with the self-destruct sequence?
I guess.
Those
Yeah,
bad
true.
boy wires.
That feels like the story of many of my relationships.
Self-destruct going off? No. Flirt.
Yeah.
Flirt. Cool. Okay, so what do we see on screen? How does that work?
Yeah. So I think like Bina probably says something to the effect of like, "Oh shit," and then I think she like looks at March. Maybe we've done a job before, so it's like we don't even need to speak because like we know what's about to go down, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then she pulls out like her DJ deck, and then like turns on her veil goggles or whatever, and then like starts like slowly. Like, because like we've kind of established like when she hacks with her dicks, it's a bit like it looks a bit like when you're cracking a safe with tumblers and stuff. So she's like turning the tables very slowly to try and infiltrate like whatever systems that she's trying to seduce. So maybe in the veil space, I don't know. Does it look like in veil space?
Yeah. Does it like in veil space? Does it look like, I don't know, the embodiment of Arasaka, like holding this guy's head or something like that?
Ooh, I like that a lot.
Like,
Yeah.
Some like red cloaked, distorted figure that's probably like Japanese horror looking or something. Right?
which is great because it means that sort of like Bina's avatar, so like seductively is trying to seduce like this ghost horror thing.
Yeah. Well, it could be whatever interpretation you like.
I dig that a lot. Like her kind of like plucking the fingers of like Arasaka off of like this guy and that kind of thing to sort of like remove the connection that they have over him to get this to get him to not self-destruct and kill everyone.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. So how are you feeling?
I'm feeling a mix of emotions. Probably probably a bit anxious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you got this.
Although I do have my friends.
At least in cyberspace, you got more time, right? There's almost always that time dilation thing where it's like time slows down and the 2-minute thing is just like click, 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 click.
Yeah. in the back, but the background music is still like super tense and like da 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 da. It's like you're I hack it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think she's feeling a bit anxious. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that seems appropriate.
There's like a bead of sweat rolling down her forehead.
So stakes. What are some interesting stakes to this role? Also, is March going to help in this process at all, do you think?
I mean, I could,
What does that look like?
but I'm also content to just let her do her thing. Like, this is what she does best. You know,
Right.
I tend to have either just break through things or slip past them. I'm not really good at
So maybe you're using this opportunity in the 2-minute space at the same time. At the same time that Bina is hacking the self-destruct, are you hacking his mind to get the data out of it?
Ooh, it's not a bad idea. Sounds good to me.
Okay, sounds good. So you're not helping, but you both have goals, so that's good. Stakes for Bina's role, I think.
Projection.
No, I think you're gonna catch a bit of the take a bit of the data into yourself unbeknownst to you.
Oh shit, that's awful.
Or other stakes, I'm willing to hear.
No, that sounds cool. I like that a lot. That's like
Okay.
actually her worst nightmare, so I dig it.
Cool. Sweet. So get that on the table. Roll, and then March at the same time as this space where Bina is like doing some cyber flirting thing happening with this Japanese horror image. What does it look like for you to hack the guy's head for information?
I think, like, in the Veil, like, the self-destruct is occupied right now, and so March just sort of yeah, I think in the Veil it's like his fingers turn into lock-picking tools or something, and he just sort of sticks it in March's head to sort of open it up.
Oh, cool. So does like, is it like literally look like a? Are you like? Does it kind of look like your avatar goes up to the guy? It's in like freeze frame motion. The camera's like panning around, and then you've got like a skeleton key, like a whole keychain of different stuff, and you like find the right one and insert it, and then like pop it open, and it's just like a machine in his head or something. Or what does it look like?
I imagine it is looking like he's picking a lock, but like the hole is not. It's just his head. The keyhole is his head, and then it just sort of like opens up like that, and it's, I think, like a sort of neon polygons sort of mess of data in there. I think that's
okay. So, and you want to be able to get all of the Arasaka information in his head, basically.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so stakes for you. Is probably the feedback, I think. I don't know if I want to. Yeah, I'll put 1d4 worth of damage on the table for your roll.
Okay.
Then. Okay.
Right. Yeah, I think he's pretty excited right now.
Yeah, there's some shit happening in the Veil. People not wearing goggles are like, what?
This is the thing. And I would like to be clear, like, outside the Veil, like, March's goggles look like neon glowing sunglasses.
Cool. And so it just looks like Bina and you are kind of still, or are your bodies animated as well in doing this process?
I think March, at least, like, he's not like doing the same hand movements as he is in the Veil, but he looks like he is concentrating. Okay,
cool. Sounds good. Okay, so mid-result for Bina, so both things happen. You do the thing. Ooh, 7 mid-result as well. Cool. So I'm going to roll damage. Oh, just one. You just get 1 damage. So maybe as you like reach and get all the polygon information and stuff, one of them like turns red and kind of like cinches your hand or something like that, but you correct and
Yeah.
get it.
That like ignores armor, I assume.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like this digital, so probably right.
Yeah. And then Bina, so you do this stuff, so you can describe exactly how that works. But I think a little piece of you sort of does the like surreptitious, or not you, of the program surreptitiously makes it its way into your avatar. And where I'm going with that is they're tracing you, right? They're not like, I wasn't going with the infected thing.
Okay. Oh, that sucks.
So what does it look like for this to work in the veil, though?
Oh, to get like have this thing trace me?
To succeed, like
Oh,
beyond just the tracing, what does it look
Oh,
like
okay.
to succeed and have?
I feel like the veil space around Michael is like a real like neon red kind of thing. Like, so this dude is gonna blow if someone doesn't stop it, kind of thing. And I think sorry, I was just thinking, how can I work bisexual lighting in there? But I won't try and do that. Or maybe I will, because she's really like seducing. She's really seducing this corporation, and so there's for sure like neon pink like flashing coming off of like Michael Hart, and then as like Bina goes up and like sort of like elegantly detaches like the corpse from Michael Hart, like blue light, like also it comes into the scene and stuff like that. And then I think like she probably like, as much as she hates herself for doing this, like wraps herself protectively around Michael Hart to like keep him away from the corp in veil space. And I think like as she does that, like the countdown stops at whatever appropriate tense number it wants to stop at, whether that's 1 or 3 or whatever.
It would be even funnier if it was like started at 2 and it stops at like a minute 56 or something, because they like get it in the digital space or whatever, so it like subverts the thriller trope of it being like, oh no.
Yeah, that's
right?
perfect.
And
I love
like
that.
the tension with Dusk, who's like, oh shit, and then it just like stops and you're like, what?
I love that a lot. That totally happens.
And then I think outside time sort of resumes normally, and then the high five happens right between Owen and Z.
Owen punches Z's hands, by the way.
What?
Owen punches Z's hands lightly, not like a strong punch, but just like a
just a bop.
Yeah, so I like go up for the high five and he just punches it instead. Yeah, I love it. Because he's just like, oh.
Cool. So my question for Dusk is, was this actually the plan all along, to like get him to do the self-destruct so that the people could go in, or are you going to proceed with like interrogating him, or is it the whole like, we already got what we needed from you, sucker, that kind of thing?
I don't think it was the plan, because Bina was the one who stopped it, and I wasn't like connected with that, right? If it had been March who had stopped it, then maybe, right? But
right. Well,
March
I mean, we
info.
could always just do like a flashback where you guys were talking, like more is revealed around the talking scene previously, and then the audience is like, why did she only say that in the group or whatever, right? But it's because you had worked this into the plan all along. Either way is completely fine with me.
I think we're winging it.
Cool. Sounds good. So you see the countdown stop, and I think in that 3 seconds, Michael Hart has been sweating like a motherfucker. Right?
I mean, I was probably sweating like a motherfucker too. So
yeah. So what do you, after the countdown stops and all that kind of stuff, and Michael Hart sort of like deflates in the chair, what does Dust do or say?
I think that after I realize that it's stopped now, I go from scared, like panicky a little bit, to like a smile spreads across my face.
Yeah.
Because I mean now he's screwed, right? We have him exactly where we want him.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna pull out my SMG.
Ooh, okay.
And I'm gonna just set it on his knee and be like, well, looks like your escape route is cut off. So how about you start talking?
He kind of like sputters and he's like, escape route. He's like, those bastards never told me that they implanted that in my cyberware.
Make shit deals, get shit results. What did you expect?
It's like, if I tell you what you want, are you going to let me go or what will you do?
I won't shoot your kneecap off. How about that? Let's start there.
Cool. Okay, so let's go to a roll again, I think.
All right.
So I think the stakes is just going to be like a gather information thing, like where it's like the better you get, the more information you get. But even a failure is going to yield some information, I think, because he's pliable, we'll say.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm gonna go with powerful again. I'm feeling back in control.
I bet. There was the 3 seconds, but now it's back.
No.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, cool. So, what you wanted was his handler, though, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So I think what he says though is, like I think after a little bit of your ministrations, like a punch or something like that, after you say it, he's like, does the spit out the blood action out of the corner of the mouth, and he's like, it doesn't matter if I tell you anyway. Taking on a core is like going after the sun. We'll just get burned alive, getting close. And he's like, sure, I'll tell you. His name's Seiji Okano, and he's the executive over there. What are you gonna do, punk?
I'm gonna like roll my eyes a little bit at that, and I think I'm gonna like unclip my SMG a little bit. I'm gonna pop out the door and open it up and say, can any of you guys just hack straight into his brain?
Oh yeah, I already did. No worries.
Oh, already done?
Yeah, no, that's taken care of. So yeah, quick question. What, like, I would have I think I would only get whatever information he has like stored digitally in his cyber part of his cyber brain. I don't like what sort of information would I have been able to?
So I think what happens
out of him.
I think the information you get was the Seiji Okano situation with Arasaka, but beyond that, I think since he has like sort of Arasaka cybernetics as I established previously, you hack into that and you get more data from that, and you sort of get like I think it's something really pretentious like Operation Overlord, right? Is happening. Yeah. And basically Seiji has a mission file that's been approved by Arasaka in which he is actually launching like a hostile takeover over Narcross. He's leveraging this information about Adriana and has purposely put what's his face Hart in their way to complicate the situation and also safeguard Adriana. So at the same time he's like helping protect Adriana, but if the time came where Hart was needed, he could like try to extract Adriana for themselves, or else kill Adriana and then make Narcross look bad and their stock would plummet. It would be easier for Arasaka to buy out the company. I think Hart is only aware to the point of like what his mission objectives and goals were, though, right? Was like keep an eye on Adriana, and what Dusk learns, though, which isn't in the digital files, is that he was planning on playing Seiji off you eventually as well, and saying like, if he was ever to be discovered, Seiji had it set up where he would make you an offer, like millions of dollars for Adriana, or else like be hunted for the rest of your lives, etc. And if you went there, then you'd be murdered and you wouldn't get any money, and Adriana would be taken. Welcome to Cyberpunk. Is there follow-up questions?
I think Z kind of in the middle of sparring with Omen or hanging out with him, he kind of remembers like, oh, I think I was supposed to look for like some kind of briefcase or a box or something. Like, I totally got hired and paid for this for something. Like,
yeah. Well, I think you could have taken that physical stuff off of him, and I don't know, it's probably got some futuristic looking polyhedral thing instead of just like a normal briefcase because it's cyberpunk.
Right. It's like a sweet cube or something.
Yeah, maybe it's like a Rubik's cube or something, and you need the pattern to like get it right. It's not like all the colors on every side. It's like you have to make an actual thing with like a different pattern instead of solving the Rubik's cube, because otherwise it might be easier. Could just find instructions on the internet for that.
You can't just take off the stickers and switch their places either.
Yeah,
doesn't work.
They guarded against that, unfortunately.
There's no stickers in Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he like takes the cube or whatever and goes up to Hart and is like, "Hey, how do I get in this thing?" "Just kidding, I'll do it myself." And like goes and sits in the corner or whatever.
That must be such a dick. I love it. Just kidding. Whatever. Cool. Yeah. So you've got his physical thing, which is probably like the physical stuff that links him to the corporation that he didn't want people to get the hands on, and also probably like a secondary objective from Satchel, who works at a news corporation, who could definitely leverage that information into his story and get paid the dollar bills. So yeah, that sweet swimmer money in the future. I can't remember what the name of the star in this setting is. It's Johnny Silverhand money, right? Johnny Silverhand cash. So, yeah, you've got the physical evidence, and March has the digital stuff, and Dusk. So he tells you that stuff, and you can tell, especially as a player who saw the die result, that he's keeping some information back. But what is the plan from here?
At that, I'm gonna look over at Omen, because I think that since Z is dealing with the cube, I'm gonna look at Omen and say, "Hey, is that arm good for anything, or just jerking off? Do you want to help me out here?" And I'm gonna drag March's or I'm gonna drag Hart's chair over.
What do you want from me?
Help me get him out to the top.
Oh, yeah, sure. And then, well, I guess I'll just like throw him over my shoulder. I don't know if Omen's particularly that strong, but I like the idea. He's gonna rise to the challenge.
I'm sure. I mean, you're in shape and you're a booster. I'm sure you could haul some weight like a fireman carry.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I buy it.
Yeah, he's a little paunchy, but you got it. So, what is the surprise, Dusk?
Oh, I'm just dumping him overboard.
Oh, there's no special surprise like you promised.
No. I mean, the final message is just that's it. The final message is sending him overboard. Yeah.
Well, if I could make a suggestion, another thing that you could do to really mess with him is leak the information that he works for Arasaka amongst the cyberpunk community, right? So he's like, can't go anywhere. He can't go to Arasaka. He can't go to the cyberpunk community. Can't do shit.
Yeah, I think I'm too much of a purist for that.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. So you just toss him?
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a zealot. So I think like if we get here, I'm gonna like maybe just grab him by the face and look at him up close and be like, well, hey, at least you didn't get burned, huh? And then I'm gonna tell Omen to throw him overboard.
Cool.
Just throwing him in the water?
Yeah, he's still zip tied, so fuck him.
Damn, Dusk. I mean, I'll do it, but
Okay.
No, at that too, right? I think after we throw him over, I'm just gonna look over at Omen and be like, name's Dusk. What's yours? I'm gonna put out my hand.
Omen crosses his arms and he just says, I'm Omen. You're gonna throw me over if you don't like something I think?
No, you seem fine.
Okay, hope we keep it that way.
Cool.
I think like at that, like she was maybe joking a little bit, and then as you're like, I hope we keep it that way, she like deadpans it and it's just like, yeah, I hope so too.
Love it. Okay. This sounds like a good time to take the last 5-minute break. Should we come back at let's say 19? Does that sound good to everybody?
Yeah.
Cool. Welcome back. So, all right. So that's dealt with. Hart is off the boat. You have a technically difficult little key thing to get into to get some more information and his credentials to Arasaka, which might come in handy in the future. At the very least, it'd be worth some money if you wanted to sell the credentials around and whatnot. But maybe we should start with that. How do you break into such a thing?
I think there's a bunch of different little gadgets that keep coming out of my left arm. Like I'll hold it in my right hand and just kind of keep prodding at it, and like my fingers will fold in, and then one thing will come out, and I'll mess around with it, and then that'll fold in, and something else will flip out. I just go to town at it on it for a few minutes, and if none of that ends up working, then like a little buzzsaw will come out and just razor blade into it until it cracks open.
Okay, cool. I think given time, yeah, I won't require a roll for it because it sounds like you have contingencies anyway for not being able to open it. But yeah, so you crack it open and you find like his call sign, which is maybe something funny like hummingbird or something. And he was like you have like a list of I can never remember the term of it, but like the back and forth conversations, like the code word structure that you would give to somebody and then they would say the thing back in order to make contact with his handler Seiji back at Arasaka, and a bunch of different like credentials and stuff like that to get into Arasaka database and stuff like that. And including, we'll say like another a credit card that you could use instead of the one that Ovid has now. like a sort of black hat card thing, right? Where it's like untraceable black money in the Caribbean or whatever the fuck. That kind of thing.
Awesome. Would this be something like we could potentially impersonate him or something like that with these codes?
Yeah, as long as it's a digital thing, I think. Like anything beyond, well, I guess you could do the Mission Impossible thing and be like looking like Michael Hart as well, but up to and including that, then you can impersonate Michael Hart now, yeah.
You didn't save his face.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was being recorded by March, right? So, boom. That's all you need, especially in the new Mission Impossible, if you saw that. It's like just a laptop where they just are like take a picture of somebody and then it's just like, boom, here's your face. So, you know, in a cyberpunk world, you don't even need a picture.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I think Z will be like come out. He's all excited because he opened this thing and he's like, I got some sweet stuff to show you guys. And he's like, oh, where's Hart? Where'd he go?
Maybe that's when Dusk and I walk back down.
He went for a swim.
I think he's probably a little caught off guard and then just gets quiet.
Nice.
What do you got there?
I found some call signs and stuff, and got a sweet credit card that we can use. We just charge it up, see what happens.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think it's just like completely red except for the black lettering that just says like Arasaka in the middle or something, right? Ah, yes, that's sweet cred. Euro dollars, so good.
Bina probably say something ironic like, but what if they can trace us with that?
Yeah, I like that.
I think Z tosses it to you and says, well, why don't you find out if it can?
Actually, being that I need to reroute my bike being delivered, so that's
Yeah,
probably
that's top
confused
priority.
with that.
Yeah.
Right. And then you find also a strange thing inside that you haven't seen before, I think, unless you've been to the independent state of Texas. I'm not sure. But basically, what it's called is a RIN card, and it's what every citizen in Texas, ruled by its own sort of sovereign state, gets as an identification chip. So think of it as like a SIN number, except that it's like a forged one that Hart could use to get in and around Texas, which everyone ostensibly should have because the Texas Rangers are the actual authority now. Like they roam around and they're the law, and they've got cyber arms and shit like that. So watch out for that. But it still needs to be implanted. It's like a chip that goes subdermal. I will
And there's just one, so we would have to give it to one person, kind of thing.
exactly.
Everybody can copy it somehow, or
I'll take that.
Nice. I think I have
yeah, I'll
a
just let them have it for sure.
I have a picture of what installing a RIN is, which in my notes I have unhelpfully labeled as perhaps a RIN job. I guess I was in a mood when I did the stuff for this. Let's see. Here's what it looks like to get your RIN job done. There's a guy implanting it in the arm, and it looks like it hurts. Black market RIN installation. Yeah, so that's that. Let's see. Also, for new players, and as a good refresher for Darren and Lauren, you were headed to the offshore colonies because they represent the best hope for leaving New Orleans undetected or losing any pursuit, ironically. The colonies have a diverse polyglot culture. Don't know what that means. This is harder to trace through the onshore American culture. Also, there are hundreds of ways traveling between the 45 colonies near the American coast and the other 200 that span the Caribbean. The Gulf colonies are jumping off points for legal and illegal trade throughout the Caribbean, Latin America, and southern United States. In the
Polyglot just means that they speak multiple languages.
Oh, okay. Thank you. It's like, don't know that word. In the land of smugglers, few people talk, such as don't last long. Yeah, we saw that. Cut to Hart being like, help! So that's why you were headed there. It's hard to trace you because there's so many jumping off points and stuff that you could get to Galveston before now Corpus Christi, ostensibly, that it would be really hard to trace you. Right? But yeah, so cool. You've got all this the RIN stuff. If you're going to Corpus Christi, I think as cyberpunk runner people, you would know that you would need RIN jobs. And yeah, otherwise, basically, what happens is it would be like being an undocumented resident, right? Like they ask you for your papers, you don't have them, they probably toss you in jail or whatever, right? The Texas Rangers are fierce peoples. So
Welcome to the year 2020.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, for one though, at a player level, is everybody on board with going to Corpus Christi / where Satchel Sabo said to go? And as you people who have been dispatched by her and not turned off in a conversation multiple times, you'll know that that's like a rendezvous. She'll meet you there. It's not just like get to there or whatever. She wants to meet you and help you at that location and thinks that she can get there safely from wherever she's at. Is everybody on board with that? Cool. So no more Galveston, where the trap and death lies, from Seiji Okano. Cool, cool. Arasaka gonna be mad. And so I think you get to the offshore colonies. We'll just like cut to you guys on your lovely raft. The light, like daybreak goes, and I think as a sort of funny, less tense moment in the morning or something like that, you all wake up to, I think there was like a bottom part of the raft where Adriana was, and she like comes up and she's like, "So did you guys have an eventful evening? I slept like a baby." Right? And she's just like frying up future eggs, right?
What kind of eggs are you making, Adriana?
Probably just chemicals, right?
What's a chemical egg?
Exactly. We don't know yet. We're not there, Darren.
Adriana, I'll take 2 chemical eggs. Thanks. And then I pour myself some black coffee that I presume is also there.
Sure. And it's like on the carton, it's some of like it's just like the liquid egg already, right? Like it's not cracked or anything. You just pour it, and it says like segs on it.
And you start making to go with those eggs.
Yeah, she grabs like another pour container. It's like bacon. And pours that in, and it's like starts solidifying as like the equivalent of bacon and stuff. And
Being able to tell that Michael Hart's a fucking rat.
right. Yeah. She says, what'd she say? I think she just says, like, seems like you can't trust anybody in your guys' life or in your way of work.
That's why we've got to have each other's backs, you know? Like, you can only trust us cyberpunk people.
Very coy. Don't trust the corpse, trust us. We've got sex. Whoa. And then from there we can just like cut to you guys coming along the offshore nomad colonies. If you don't know what nomads are in Cyberpunk 2020, they're essentially like biker gangs that roam the countryside and are kind of like about as lawful as you would think, basically, from a biker gang nowadays. Like Sons of Anarchy, like they're very insular. They have their own family kind of rules that they institute. Nobody breaks. They have other sort of microcosms of themselves all across the country and stuff like that. And generally they're on their like cyber cycles going around and stuff. What is different about this place, though, is this is actually like their home. Previously in the setting, you've only seen them kind of as like wanderers and barely skating by, and or small family units and stuff like that. Like when we saw them on the Mississippi River, they were kind of being like their way of life was being eroded because the corporation was dumping all the spillage and stuff into the Mississippi River, and before that they had been living there. So the river had been rising and eroding all this stuff because it was really toxic and gross and stuff. But this is like an actual, for lack of a better word, like structure city type thing where it's their home. And why it's so hard to get a trace, it'd be like going to like Mos Eisley or whatever, right? Like the central hub of scum and villainy, except not everyone is bad, right? And so the little blurb for this is that most of the oil dried up in a few years after the turn of the century. Soon thereafter, many of the large oil companies disintegrated. A couple, such as Parker Petrochemicals, later Petrochem, and Saab Oil, which are just like big megacorps in the setting, basically, were able to adapt, shifting to production of CHOOH2, which is just like what the technology in this setting uses, like the trucks and cars and stuff like that. Are they've switched to that production. Many of the petrochemical giants simply withered away, leaving behind their silent, towering machines like the discarded skeletons of an extinct race of giants. Among the abandoned relics, several thousand shore oil rigs in the North Sea and the West Coast were kind of like conglomerated by these people, and like the bones are like picked and then constructed out of this. So you could picture in my head, it's very like Waterworld, you know, how it's like the floating cities, but it's very like haphazard. It doesn't look like it's super well constructed. It might not last too long, but it's like a makeshift home of sorts. Except that it's also a central hub, so lots of people coming and going and stuff like that. There's never a better hive of scum and villainy. It says that. No, just kidding. Many of the rigs are broken up. Scavengers are a thing. There's no more Coast Guard, no more naval outposts. Everything is owned by nomads. It says most cyberpunks are familiar with the nomad families that rumble across the highways of America, and some have even encountered the nomads in the travel of the Mississippi. Yeah, so what I'd like to know from you guys is how in this city, how do we know that this is a central hub now of Southern America, apparently? And also, what is like cyberized? What is cyberpunk about this sprawling rig, other than it's like sprawling rigs and stuff like that, right? What do we see that as the viewer of this TV show came on to this camera or viewed the camera and see the rigs as like a viewer? How do they know that this is like a mega city of sorts constructed by a nomad family type thing? And yeah, so does anyone have any ideas for either of those two questions? It looks like Lauren does. Duh. What's cyberpunk about this rig? Or what is centralized? How do we know that it's a big hub? Also, people might like to know that air transport in this setting apparently are giant zeppelins. So they were on a giant zeppelin before, but it got shot down and it was a whole thing. But that is sort of the luxury yacht of this world, is going really slowly on a zeppelin. Probably not in terms of freight transport, as far as I have read anyway. But think that sort of retro futurism aesthetic that they have going on.
Is it meant to be Corpus Christi, or this is something on the way to Corpus Christi?
On the way to Corpus Christi.
Okay.
Yeah, since this is like a central hub, you'll be getting your ride or whatever to Corpus Christi from here.
Well, I think that I'm sorry. This is the desert in Texas. I think what I'm thinking of is that there's a lot of technology that's happening in like Dubai specifically, but the Middle East right now, the Arabian Peninsula, where like just sunshades. It's really simple. Sunshades are just everywhere. But maybe the idea for Corpus Christi and this massive place is that everything is covered by these like mile-high sunshades that move throughout the day to like position themselves against the sun. And then somehow also this like setup brings in a breeze off the Gulf. So instead of, since winds usually move west to east, there's some way that it circulates a lot of that back and like pushes it back onto the mainland. So it's like this artificial coolness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think also there's like huge sprawling fisher type villages. I don't know if you've seen the fishing villages out in China, but its entire towns constructed like buoys on the water, and they all just look like large nets essentially, and then on little sort of almost like the raft that you're on, I guess there's like little houses on them where people actually live. And so literally the fish that they catch is like just out front and it's floating on water and stuff. So I think we catch a shot of like the raft floating past one of these gigantic sprawling fisher type villages just off the part of the sprawling dead relics of these oil rigs and such.
This feeds into the idea that I had for adding to this, which is like people emerging from the water who have cybernetic gills installed so that they can dive down and stay underwater for long periods of time in order to either fish or collect, whatever pearls, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Anyone else have any ideas?
Since we've got this kind of breeze coming in too, maybe like all the rigs have been converted into, like windmills and turbines and stuff to catch that and turn it into energy to be used by the nomads. So it's just like all this really pretty like pinwheels, and they're all brightly colored and stuff to kind of contrast against the just dirty old plain black metal that it used to be.
Cool. I like that a lot. Anyone else?
I think like I dig a hub part of it being like pop-up marketplaces that are just like collections of ships that are kind of just like stuck together. And I have this visual in mind because I am way too into Sunless Sea. As like a reference point. But I like that sort of like messy collocation of like people like selling things and wares and stuff that kind of like come together. Probably if it's like pop-up marketplace, a lot of it's probably black market stuff as well. So I kind of dig that there's like this black marketplace like boat thingies.
Cool.
So is this place also like a digital virtual cyber hub, as well as? Then I imagine like the sort of like it's a series of rigs, right? So it's like arranged around a larger central rig, dominated by like this sort of Space Needle like structure. That's basically a big antenna that directs all the incoming and outgoing transmissions.
Cool. Awesome. I like that. Cool. Also, upon further reading, you'll be happy to know that the common ethnicities here in the Gulf colonies, as they are also known, is Vietnamese, Cubans, Americans, Mexicans, South Americans, and inhabitants of the West Indies. The common languages is a patois. I am shocked to see a French word of this. Of English, French, Vietnamese, and Spanish, although most of the foreign sea nomads speak English to some degree. So that's what JD was saying there. Cool. So I think we're getting pretty close to time. So I just want to plant a fun little thing in your noggin. So I think maybe you're just like doing some shopping or whatever, like you get out to stretch your legs or whatever. It's been a huge long journey, and we take in all of these specific things that you guys have been hitting on for the rigs and all that. And in addition to that, where's his let's see, let me roll a dice to see which of you might know. Cool. March, a netrunner that you know named Claudius. Maybe you're buying some RAM or something.
Always need more RAM.
Always need the more RAM.
I'm
This is the DDR 5000, right?
always filling up memory.
Yeah, you're like in one of these pop-up markets and stuff like that. People are roaming around, and Claudius, it's one of those things where you like, I don't reach your hand into a bowl full of RAM to see if this is the good stuff, right? Apparently, it's like fruit in the future.
Like
And-
bite it a little.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, that's
this
real
isn't-
RAM, all right.
Yeah, that's not the fake RAM. The fake RAM is a little squishy. Yeah,
That's that prime 100% pure RAM.
Yeah, I mean, it's what Mac would have you believe, right? They're like, don't use anybody else's RAM. It's not Mac RAM. Like, I'm pretty sure it's just RAM Mac. But anyway, I digress. You are tasting your RAM, and then you look over and you see Claudius, who is a netrunner that you've worked with, and he says, like, he kind of leans in conspiratorially and says, I have a call that just came in for you, March.
From whom?
That's the weird thing. They wouldn't give their name, but they knew who you were and where you were.
That's not super weird, but it is ominous.
Okay, slightly weird then. Is that okay?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay, sounds good.
And I will also take the call.
Good. When you get to the are we going with, do we want to stick to the 90s aesthetic of like the cell phones being like brick type stuff? Yeah.
We gotta commit, right?
Yeah, okay. Sounds good. So I guess they move in such a way that the sellers can't see them and open a trench coat, and I guess half of their trench coat is taken up by this phone that they give you. And they motion for maybe some kind of privacy booth that is mostly used by perverts, but sometimes people just need privacy, right? It's like an outhouse, kind of, but one where you can like hit the Blade Runner screen and it just like comes down and you can do whatever you like in it. And over the crackle and hiss of the screen, all you hear in your ear is like the sort of like sound of that's emblematic of 90 movies portraying AIs, where it's like a collection of radio frequencies and different sounds that make up like a voice that you can't make out, you know, like different words from different radio broadcasts and music and all that kind of, like Bumblebee talks.
Okay, because can I be recording this with my cyber ears?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you're always recording, apparently. Right?
Not always,
Okay.
but often.
Only in the privacy booths.
Only when I'm receiving mysterious calls from mysterious strangers.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay.
And a lot of other situations, but like that one in particular.
Right. And I think what you hear in, I want to say as creepy as possible, they say Arasaka is coming. And then it's like, and like executive producer, right? End of the episode. And it's, you know, Reagan and like some old 90s songs and all that kind of like mixed together. So it's super creepy. I just can't do it. And then that's where we cut. Cool. So XP. Window. Cool. So everybody gets 1,000 XP. Or wait, we'll go 1,200 XP. So that'll bring y'all up to level 3 for the new folks. And then money, you didn't make any money, but you have a credit card. Credit card's good. It's red. It's nice. Arasaka coming. You might as well spend their money while they're looking for you, right? So make sure that you take your bonus from level 3 the +1 class slot or +1 harm box. And if you didn't take your level 2 one, definitely take that as well. You should have a spot in your Veil 20 sheet to add the appropriate things. And oh yeah, also another thing that I keep forgetting about too is that when you gain a level, you can tell the table what other cyberpunks may have heard about you, as your rep may precede you in dealing with others as it grows. So maybe that might be a fun thing to start the next session with. Maybe people being like the things that they heard about, so you guys can think about it and you're not on the spot at the moment. Cool. Out of curiosity, Darren and Lauren, what is your XP at now?
13,800.
Oh shit! I gave myself too much XP.
Cool. So your next milestone is level 5, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Had to be math. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, that's good. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna stop this.